You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, a place to learn about how to grow your business and stay ahead of the technological advances before they become mainstream. Welcome to our series, As the Gears Turn, hosted by two of Ingram Micro's SMB Alliance Council members, Devaughn Bittle and Patrick Cash.
Patrick, how are you?
Devin, what's going on, buddy? I am in the throes of tech support 102 here. So
I see that.
It's the nature of the beast, right? I mean, this is what we live and breathe. So
that's right. If it doesn't work for us, why should it work for us if it doesn't work for our clients sometimes?
I tell my customers all the time, I'm like, tech people have tech problems too. So don't feel like you're on an island. So
exactly.
Who do we have the pleasure today?
So, Patrick, I'm excited about this podcast. Our guest today has contributed to articles for Harvard Business Review, Wired.com. He's a member of the Forbes Technology Council. I've even had the pleasure to hear him speak at one of the many conferences that he speaks at. And I'm honored to welcome Sanjib Sahoo, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Digital Officer at Ingram Micro. Sanjib, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Really excited.
Great. So, Sanjib, I'd like to talk about where you grew up for a moment and get a little bit background on, well, I'm just going to say transformation, but I guess your transformation into the digital transformation world. How's that?
Absolutely. It's actually a really story. So I grew up in a very remote, small town, rural area in India. It is about 140 kilometers from one of the big cities in India. Literally, it was, not much of luxury necessities and out there. So it was interesting. And I lost my father when I was 8 years old. And one of the things that always, kept me up and going was, when he passed away, he actually wanted me to do something that had an impact. And when my father passed away and my mom and my brother, my mom brought us up, I actually learned entrepreneurism from her, because what it teaches you is entrepreneurism is more of making every challenge an opportunity. You have to be frugal in everything that you do. You have to always optimize your pros and minimize your cons, and live with it. So I was brought up by my mother, single-handedly, worked through, education, did get through some of, the good schools, initially studied economics and finance, and then went to, school for computers and worked my way through Wall Street, and then slowly, came to this country. I came to Wall Street, and then step by step, I'm here. So one of the things from my own personal journey, I've learned that every single day, try to be better. And it has been a big transformation for me from a small town, guy in India to be in, right now in California, leading digital transformation in Ingram Micro. So that's a little bit about my journey.
So let's dig into that a little bit further and kind of talk about the career journey. And I'm going to ask like a two-parter here. So you've had a lot of experience with digital transformation in the past. And I mean, some people might actually call you like the Yoda of digital transformation. So can you give us a little bit of history that's gotten you to where you are today? And as the follow-up to that, what led you wanting to take on the role of Ingram Micro's Chief Digital Officer?
Absolutely. It starts with very important, Patrick, is when I grew up, I always focused on question why, understand the logic behind it. And I was most of the times happy but not content or complex. And I always want to improve myself. So digital transformation is an ongoing journey. It never stops. But people ask me, what is digital transformation? I call it a spirit, right? It's an ongoing spirit that you constantly evolve to improve with the power of technology. So in my career, what happened was initially I studied finance and economics. I got an opportunity to work in a bank. And then I was working on back-end systems to modernize some of the accounting and subledger applications. Then from there, I actually came to an opportunity to get into online trading. So really build the first streaming trading online platform in the industry. That was a big challenge. It was the first of its kind, streaming 8 billion transactions per second with open source technologies and trying to change something that Wall Street hasn't, done. So it was really challenging and really digitizing a new experience in the trading industry. So when we built that platform, in a few months, it was recognized, and 7 years in a row, it was rated the best, options trading platform by Barron's, which is really, really exciting and really transformed how online trading, works. And we went through that journey. After that, I went to logistics, and understood, how to actually the logistics works, and worked on creating digital transformation platform in a logistics and transportation sector. So I was initially grew up with a technology background, Patrick, but I always had a business acumen, and I had done my both business and technology. Then I went back to business school, in Harvard, and then got my advanced management to really focus on really bringing in the both business acumen and value, because digital is not just technology. It's about creating that operating model and bringing that business value. So after that, when I was looking for the next opportunity, what I should do, one of the things that really makes me excited is creating a true impact, as I talked about from my childhood, and making a difference and really be part of a company that has amazing culture. When I spoke to Ingram, the opportunity was infinite. This industry, technology distribution, I felt there's a lot of possibilities can be powered by technology. We can actually bring in modern technology and value to this massive company, which touches 90% of the human population. And I really like the culture of the people that I talked to during the interview process, including all the executives. And in fact, my first discussion with our current CEO, Paul Bay, was a super hit. I really instantly, liked him, and we got, understood what we are trying to do. So that drove me to join Ingram Micro. So if you look at my career, I have been industry agnostic. I have been trained myself in both technology and business and finance to get that, all-roundedness. And more importantly, I focused on driving value. I don't believe in building technology for the sake of building technology. To me, shiny technology is pointless if you do not drive value. I get a lot of excitement and thrill in driving value for the companies, making them leapfrog, creating, enterprise and shareholder value, and really driving, change and transformation. And that's why I'm at Ingram Micro.
So Sanjib, I want to get into the heart of today's conversation, which is Ingram Micro's Xvantage platform. So if you could tell us where that's currently at today.
Absolutely. So the concept of Xvantage was, literally what we thought last year. When I took this opportunity, we looked at how we can take Ingram to the next level. A lot of the components were already there. We had pieces of Cloud Blue technology already there, but we had the vision of creating a single pane of glass. But not only that, how do we take the complexity out of this industry, making it easy for our partners to do business with us, really leverage the power of more than 40 years of data that Ingram Micro has with the machine learning and AI. So that gave the idea of creating a platform. So to transition Ingram from a distribution to a platform business. So that is how Xvantage journey started. We launched one of our first engines last year, which is flexible subscription engine. So take, the way the industry is going, especially in technology, we can have everything on a recurring subscription model. And slowly we have worked on putting the pieces of the puzzle together with Xvantage. We did a small pilot in June, in US and Germany. You heard me in the Cloud Summit when I announced that we are going to launch this summer. So this summer, we actually launched the platform in US, Germany, and now also live in Canada. We are working to add about 10 more countries this year and go live across the geography early next year. This is the customer piece, the partner piece of the platform. We're also working on the vendor, platform, which we are piloting in this year, but we'll release in Q1 of next year. And we have also launched our associate experience platform in 39 countries. So it's a completely, Xvantage is a machine learning driven self-learning experience platform, which really changes Ingram Micro to become an experience driven organization. And we have started this journey to focus on experience, rest everything follows. And that's another thing I want to say is a lot of people ask me, and that digitization is just automation. It is not. Few years ago, digitization was pure automation from analog to digital. It started with automation. So you first build innovation or platform or technology and focused on adoption. Today, digitization is experience. It's experience first, automation follows. And that's a huge fundamental shift in how you drive the business strategy of an organization. So Xvantage is a digital twin of Ingram Micro. That is not a platform. It is the new way that our partners, our vendors, employees engage with us. It's a completely new experience powered by machine learning AI to really create a customized experience for our partners. And that is what Xvantage stands for, that whole experience that we wanted to deliver.
So I think it's important to point out here, because I think some might see that this purely as, okay, Ingram's just launching a new website, but it's far larger than that. It's far bigger than just a website. It's a full platform that touches every aspect of the process. Is that right?
Yeah, this is actually an ecosystem. This is not just a website. So this is a new platform for our partners, new platform for our employees. It's a new platform for our vendors. It's powered by headless autonomous engines that we have built that has business logic powered by machine learning. This is again powered by a real-time data mesh that we have collected and done, going through cleanup, harmonization, building intelligence. There's a lot of back-end work that has been done with an ecosystem. And what it does is it takes completely complexity out, but it engages in the entire life cycle of that ecosystem, from the partners to associates to the vendors, from quoting to renewal, subscription, everything. So everything brought in a single pane of glass, and bringing that consumerization experience in this industry. That is what Xvantage is for.
Yeah, I think that's what makes this so exciting too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about, Sanjib, not creating something just for the sake of creating it. And, what's interesting here is it's not just the transformation. And I think you recently posted on LinkedIn about this. If you forget about the operations, the transformation is kind of moot. And so, as you've gone live in the US and Germany and Canada, let's talk about some of the feedback that you guys are already receiving on, what this is bringing to the reseller, to the vendors, and to Ingram Micro.
Absolutely. So you hit on a very important question, which is operations. More than 80% of such digital journeys and platforms fail for multiple reasons. One of them is truly able to create an operating model from the get-go. Because as I said before, innovation or technology built first and then focus on adoption do not work anymore. So what we have done is we have created a model called DigiOps, which is digital operating model, a group of professionals who actually focus on creating an operating model, a platform or a digital operating model as we mature in our digital journey. And digital journey is also powered by data. As we go from a traditional company to a hub, to a bridge, to a platform state, you are really figuring out an operating model, how you serve your customers. For example, tracking your orders on the platform, pushing the renewal subscriptions automated, being able to deliver customized insights on the platform. So that is what we have been doing. And this is a constant feedback loop that we have done to understand what we should build. Now, we launched the platform pilot in June, and we have been taking feedback from our resellers and partners. We've got very, very good feedback. One of our, longtime customers or partners said, we got 1 hour notice to use the platform. It just worked out of the box. we didn't require any training to use such a platform after so many years of doing something other platforms. So it was intuitive. We got feedback that this takes complexity out of their business. Their employees can now focus on growing their business and not focus on routine mundane tasks like tracking, billing, figuring out invoicing. All that is handled already. And it also, that insights makes them more intelligent to grow their business. I mean, imagine if you get real-time integrated insights as a distributor, we are in the middle between our OEMs, vendors, and our customer partners. These insights are extremely important for them to be intelligent about their business, almost like a $54 billion company standing behind supporting these partners to be better in their own business. And they realize it, recognize it. One of the partners said, this platform makes us focus not in our business, but on our business. So they don't have to focus on, mundane, routine, repetitive tasks, but focus on how they grow, sell more solutions, and change the industry. So that is where we have got a lot of feedback. But I repeat that this whole operations and operating model is very important. Even in my team, we have our Digi-Tech side and the Digi-Ops side hand in hand together working. So everything is starting from the feedback to understanding what the partners want, what the vendors want, what works, what doesn't work. Even when we launch the platform, real time we are monitoring what are the customers or partners doing, what orders are they placing, are they improving on that? So that is how it makes us fine tune this. So I could not, harp on more the importance of a DG-Ops or digital operations model to make this successful. Otherwise, there can be a lot of great looking, amazing, shiny platforms. But if you do not drive value, it just goes pointless.
So even though Ingram's digital transformation journey is just starting, I know there's a lot more to come, and the industry is buzzing. I do believe that this is probably a game changer. Can you elaborate on what is going on today and what's coming down the road, specifically with the journey itself? So, we'll just start off with what were the biggest pain points for Ingram during the journey?
So number one is this whole working on the data, imagine a Fortune 100 company, $55 billion revenue, operations in 200 countries, and 170,000 partners and 1,500 vendors. It's a massive scale. To really take that data, harmonize data, create the data mesh, it's a massive challenge to actually work on that. And we took up the challenge. We brought in some talent. We hired our chief data officer from Facebook, and I tasked him to actually start working on the challenge in a very aggressive timeline. The number two is, really changing the mindset, the mindset of a traditional distributor to a mindset of a platform company is completely different. And how do you change that mindset and create a spirit and DNA of going digital in the organization? That is hard because keep in mind, most of the organizations fail because of mindset. Because most of the times we think what has got us here will take us there. And the organizations face two kinds of gaps: opportunity gap and performance gap. Performance gaps are easier to fix because, you're not performing well. You can fine tune your operating income, revenue, look at it, cut some costs. But what is difficult is to address the opportunity gap where you do not understand the market opportunity. Market has changed. So I think in Ingram, it was actually, easier to slowly, make these changes because the employees were hungry for a change. They were waiting to actually transform. The culture is really good. It actually comes from the top, from the CEO, from the board. There's a lot of support behind this. So that was really exciting. But if you talk about the timeline and about what we are doing, we are constantly releasing more and more functionality in every 2-week cycle right now for our partners. We are taking it to different countries globally to have the single platform, a single pane of glass for all our partners. We are working on creating the whole vendor platform where take complexity out, transform any vendor data, make easy integration and onboarding. And that is, we'll be piloting end of this year, but launching early next year. We're also working on many engines, like he's talked about insights, recommendations, quoting. There's a lot of complexity that we have in the engines that we're working, like making it an as a service model. So converting everything to as a service from hardware, software, we're working on that. So ultimately the journey is becoming that platform data insights organization. And we have a lot of roadmap working on that. We have global teams, completely agile format working to deliver. We're moving pretty fast on this, with the different work streams, and more functionalities coming, like a lot of functionalities planned to enrich the platform. Keep in mind, we don't stop launching the platform. We have forked our teams where a team is actually adding functionality to the platform launch in US, Germany, and Canada. And teams are also working to roll out across different countries. So that's where we are in the next phases in the journey.
Well, and you said mindset. And so it kind of keyed with me. You come from a background in finance, and then you transferred that into, the logistics space, went back to school, added the business aspect. And mindset is a key. You look at a transformation such as this, the undertaking that Ingram is taking on, and it's going to take an incredible amount of mental fortitude, strength, being able to kind of look at this from all the different angles. I mean, how do you believe, for you specifically, your strengths in these areas have been able to not only translate to success with just Xvantage, but also just with your career at Ingram as a whole?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked as a question, what is the advice, or how do you do digital transformation as a career? So few things, as I said, I always had the focus on why from my childhood, understanding the reason behind. And I always had a business acumen, even when my schooling, my master's, I always had from marketing to finance to business and technology. I had my hands in both. I could correlate how we can bring technology to the business. That was always been my interesting, area. And I always enjoyed that, So a few things I would say to lead a digital transformation. Number one is you need to have the right spirit and mindset. So for example, you have to embrace change, eliminate fear, and fail fast. You cannot be fearful, when you are leading such a transformation. You got to have nerves of steel. There will be days which are up, days which are down. You will face a lot of skepticism. A lot of people will challenge you. A lot of people will say this is not possible. So this is important to make sure you have that. Number two, you have to focus on the art of possible versus the art of impossible. Many times we focus on why will not work, but you have to focus on how can it make work. So many times we focus on the 40% chance of failure and do not move forward versus focusing on the 60% chance of success and really driving to that. So that's number two. Number three, attitude is very important more than aptitude. Skills can be taught, but you have to have the right attitude, both me and the team, and the passion to do that. Because keep in mind, energy and passion is contagious. The art of storytelling is very important when you're leading a digital transformation. You got to tell a story that everybody can relate. Story is different than jargons. Story is different than technology terms. Story is what connects to your heart, because digital transformation is about humans, it's about heart. And if you cannot connect to the heart of your employees and the humans, it will not work. Because today, employee experience is customer experience. If your employees don't adopt the solution, your customers won't, because all of them are humans. So really being able to tell a story, narrate a story, and make an impact and connect with them is very important. Then is focused on a proper plan, that really having a plan, execute, all that comes. It's called making ground and taking ground. Slowly earn credibility by delivering results. And be open to take feedback every time. Focus on the question is, go ahead and use it, or what can we do better? How can you make yourself and help us to make your job better? So those are the ways. And I always tell my teams, communicate with compassion, but execute with passion. Many times legacy technology or systems are there and new leaders come and say, oh, this doesn't make sense. But we have to be compassionate. There's a reason why it is there. And if you're compassionate, it's a sign of strength, not weakness. So being able to have a compassionate leadership style when you're driving transformation is important, because then people can relate to you. So being able to be as a leader which people can relate actually drives change. It's not about how smart you are, because if you are smart and fast, you can go fast, but you'll not go far. So you have to go far. And to go far, you have to take your people along with you. And that's why all of the things matter as a person to change your leadership, to drive such transformation and be willing to fail. And the last thing I will say, Patrick, is before we thought leadership is about being perfect. I think digital leadership is about being vulnerable. If you come out and talk about where you can improve, where you can learn, and where you have failed, employees relate to you better and you become better as a leader. And I tell my teams that we should lead through our ears than through our mouth. So listening to employees makes much more easier to drive this change. So those are some of the things that I can tell you what I do, to do this transformation.
That's fascinating. I love everything you're saying, especially from a mindset standpoint. I think mindset is so important. I mean, we tell our kids, it's like my kids actually are in sports. They do gymnastics, and they both go see a mindset coach. And that's how important I think it is, because their mental strength is just as important as their physical strength. And I think you've touched on that quite a bit here. I think that's awesome. Sanjib, with the creation of Xvantage, you and your team have elevated the level of consumerization at Ingram. How is that going to affect partners and resellers? And specifically, how will it affect us in the SMB community?
Absolutely. I give the Sunday, Monday example. Think about you are watching a football game on Sunday evening. Your feet on the couch, you're relaxing, watching the game. You want to have pizza. So you open up your app, you book a pizza, and you track, 12 minutes. I'm so hungry. Let me track the pizza. 12 minutes is coming. Then you get ordering. Let's say Joe is right next door, coming to your door in 2 minutes. You can figure it out. Do you want to keep the pizza at the door, or should he or she knock your door? And you can do all those things. So you love that experience. Then say, no, I don't want pizza. I want some chips also and some drinks. Go to Instacart, figuring out, okay, I ordered some groceries and chips and everything. Go to Instacart and actually buy that. Some of your friends are there with you. You had a nice couple of drinks. The game is over. Said, I want to drive. I'll take an Uber and go home. That is Sunday night for you. Then you come to distribution industry on Monday morning. You want to buy technology. Don't you expect the same experience on a Monday morning that you got on a Sunday night? Or do you want to pick up the call and figure out, hey, tell me which hardware goes with which software? What is the warranty life? Can you explain me? And then when you place the order, then you are calling, where is my order? When it will come? Trying to, wait for tracking, then call and manually get an invoice done, billing done. Why is there a difference between a Sunday and a Monday for distribution? Whereas in a few years, we expect everybody to get a same digital experience. What Xvantage will do is blend Sunday with Monday. It will actually bring the consumerization for login, get in a Netflix-like personalized widgets. If you are a finance, you can look at finance widgets. If you are procurement, or you are doing P&A, or you are just looking at recurring invoices or buying hardware, you can customize a platform based on your choice. You can track real time on the app, on the platform where your deliveries are. You can look at everything on a single pane of glass. You can look at content. You can look at videos. You can do every single thing digitally and bring that consumerization experience to our partners, which means that taking all the complexity out that they deal with it today, from disjointed systems, pain points in billing, pain points in quoting, to create a more digital, easy to use, intuitive experience, which is completely customized for them with the power of machine learning and AI, that every single time you use a platform, it is getting intelligent more, and do that. That is what experience. When you go to watch a movie, in Netflix, my screen and your screen are different because it's learning all the time. When you order a Uber, you can track it. That is what Xvantage will do to our partners. It is make it easy so that they can focus on growing their business. It will help them to sell solutions because the algorithm will figure out the solutions. It will also give you recommendations automatically based on many factors. What you should, sell. These are the recommendations for you. So it makes it very, very easy and bring that entire Sunday night experience back on a Monday and a business day. That is what Xvantage is.
Well, I'm excited because if it's as easy as the Domino's tracker when I order a pizza, then it's just going to definitely be a game changer, no doubt. All right, Sanjib, you recently spoke at the CRN Best of Breed 2022. Can you give us some insight into the event and maybe elaborate on your challenge that you gave to the audience around digital fitness?
Yeah, I think the Best of Breed is CRN's, showcase event where we get a lot of the best minds from the channel and bringing over here the CEOs and other leaders. So I think one of the thing, my main thing that I spoke was, how do you evaluate digital fitness in your organization? How do you embrace a digital mindset and really guide your organization to digital transformation? Because a lot of people speak about digital transformation, but 84% of them fail, and more than 70 even do not drive any value. So while it is the most talked about term and our partners are helping their end customers with digital transformation, it's not really so simple. So I try to challenge them to really understand, to evaluate their digital fitness in the organization, take the right steps that they can mature them, focus on driving and creating a digital operating model, and really debunk some myths, because we sometimes think digital transformation is all about technology. It's not. It's hardly about technology. It's about the spirit, solutions, mindset, value creation. We also talked about creating chief value officer, where we should be really focusing on value, and that drives the entire digital strategy, very importantly. And really make audience understand that the term digital transformation will always be there. We are always transforming, but we have to really focus on how do we create digital operating models? How do we create that DNA and focus on value? Companies who do that will sustain, and companies who don't will not. More than 58% of the Fortune 500 companies have actually disappeared from the list in the last 10 years. So it's a choice, but it's also necessary to do it right. That was my main message.
So while it's not your official title, you've used the term Chief Value Officer in multiple platforms, including recently on LinkedIn posts. What does being a Chief Value Officer mean to you?
When you are going through a transformation, there is always temptation to do multiple things, many, many things. And you also have to run a business, because transformation cannot be done by pausing everything. So I call it perform while you transform. But when you perform while you transform, there's a lot of things comes in your priority list. If you focus on doing everything, we'll fail. So you have to look at with the lens of value to really come up with the list that matches to the strategic levers of the organization and focus on them. And when you focus on them, you also have to figure out tracking and measuring the value creation very, very frequently. Otherwise, it will not be sufficient. Otherwise, it will be operationally successful. The patient died. Yes, you can have programs on time, on schedule, but where is the value? So the role of a value officer, I think every single CXO, doesn't matter CEO, CIO, CTO, CMO, everybody should really have a component of CVO in them. Because what drive is value, and value brings you the lens of prioritizing, being frugal, being more judicious about your spend, driving customer value, prioritizing them. So that's very important. And if you do not have a proper financial framework to measure value, track value, and prioritize that, then you will never be able to be successful, because otherwise you do not know what is working, what is not working. And there is always temptation to do too many things without much returns. As long as they don't show up in the tangible value in the books of the companies, it's all shiny, but the success looks on creating true value.
So I'm going to ask a little follow-up question to that, Sanjib. Maybe not to Xvantage, or maybe to Xvantage. Can you give us like a real world from your perspective where you've seen success in doing exactly this?
Yeah, there are many such examples. Instead of quoting my own experience, but if you look at the industry, I can give an example about, look at Netflix and Blockbuster. Like Blockbuster was doing really well, and Netflix went to them to be bought by $50 million. And they started with a simple concept: do not charge late fees. But slowly they moved into streaming digital content, customization, personalization content, and it evolves. When they did that, Blockbuster is nowhere anymore. They were disrupted by Netflix. But now Netflix is also facing competition by Prime, Hulu, everywhere else, because just streaming content is not good enough, which means that they have to also reinvent themselves. The point I'm trying to make is that, Patrick, what is successful today may not be successful tomorrow. Sometimes airlines got competition from video conferencing software. The taxis, you see the taxi industry didn't think Uber will come and disrupt them. So we live in a world of digital dichotomy where you cannot predict competition. So what we should do is we should keep on focusing on driving our customer experience better, and better, using the most optimal technology to be ready. Architect our solutions with cloud, microservices, containerized code such a way that we can easily pivot and scale and can change business models as the industry changes. The companies who do that are successful. Companies who do that, if you have a lot of legacy, then you cannot switch fast. Then you die down. So many companies have fallen off recently. So that's what I would say that, and again, what you do today may be good, but we have to keep on changing in next year, next to next year. That's why I said digital transformation doesn't end. There's no start date and end date. It's ongoing. Companies which have the digital operating spirit, the DNA to improve their operations, have customer centricity, focus on improving their technology to support that, those are the truly digital disruptors that will evolve and stay. But that also, for some time, you cannot be complacent. So that's what I would say, Patrick.
So, Sanjib, if you've ever listened to our podcast, you know that there's one question we always ask, and that question is, where do you see technology going in the next year? But I want to add a little twist to it with you. So I'd like to, get your take on that, but specifically, what is your plan for Ingram as we head into 2023? And as Xvantage becomes more and more a part of Ingram's identity in 2023, where do you see Xvantage taking Ingram in the future and beyond?
I think Xvantage is the digital twin of Ingram Micro. As we go to 2023, we will have Xvantage rolled out to most of the countries. It has been widely used and adopted. I would expect Xvantage to be one of the major, sources for our customers, interacting with us, and it is a digital twin, which means it will help Ingram to become slowly from a distributor to lay the foundation to become a data insights and platform company where the platform is driving the business, the model that we operate, and really earning the trust and business from our partners with the ease of use of the platform, the intuitiveness of the platform, the power of insights with machine learning and recommendations, taking complexity out and helping them to grow their business. So I would hope Xvantage to really not only change Ingram, but really transform our partners in this industry and make them better, so that they can go and sell solutions to their customers and overall create that demand and push in this industry. That's what I will expect, to happen in 2023.
Sanjib, we have covered a ton today. Digital transformation, digital operations, the value add, the art of possible is what's stuck in my head at the moment. Where can people find out more about you and more about Xvantage?
I think you can find more about, you can follow me in LinkedIn, or in Twitter. My Twitter handle is Sahoo Sanj, SAHOOSANJ. I'm more active in LinkedIn. You can, see my posts and articles, in LinkedIn and read about, my thoughts. In Xvantage, we have a lot of content on Xvantage. You can look at xvantage.com to look at this. You can follow our Ingrams, channel, Ingrams, all social channels in LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There's a lot of content or posts about Xvantage, and there's a lot of news coming out, for Xvantage. So you can actually do that. And if you have any question, please feel free to give me a ping, any of the social channels. I'll be happy to respond if I can, if I know the answer, and I will happy to respond, so.
Sanjib, thank you for joining us today. This has been a fascinating conversation. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of B2B Tech Talks As the Gears Turn edition. And remember, you can access this episode and many others directly from the Xvantage website.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrick and Devaughn.
You've been listening to As the Gears Turn, a series brought to you by B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. This episode was sponsored by Ingram Micro's SMB Alliance. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production between Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro.